Elite Facts presents Most Unusual Deaths Ever.
10.
Considered by historians to be their first superstar in American baseball, Jim Crichton died as he suffered from ruptured abdominal hernia while hitting a home run. He swung his baseball too hard that he injured himself and ruptured his bladder, which caused him an internal injury. The incident took place on the 14th of October 1862, when Jim was playing a match against the Union of Mauritania. He died after 4 days of injury in his home on the 18th of October 1862.
9.
An old public prosecutor named Gary Hoy died in order to prove that his glass was indestructible. The unpleasant incident took place in the year 1993 when Gary threw himself against the window of a small meeting room which was located on the 24th floor of the Toronto Dominion Centre, just to prove to a group of visitors about his window glass being indestructible. The tragedy took place when the glass did not break, but the glass popped out of the window frame. He is known for his situation of death.
8.
The Formula One race driver, Alan Stacey, was killed during the Belgian Grand Prix race of the year 1960. He was driving a Lotus 18 Climax and his car crashed at a speed of 190 km per hour. That's 120 miles per hour. Because of a bird which flew down and hit his face. Alan had an artificial leg and he conspired with his teammates to fool medical examination. Alan died within a few minutes after the car crash. The Lotus is still in the hands of the Stacey family and it makes occasional appearances on the track.
7.
During 1771, King of Sweden Adolf Fredrik died because of digestion problems as he was not able to digest the meal comprising of lobster, sauerkraut, caviar, smoked herring and champagne, topped off with 14 servings of his favourite dessert of hepfag served in a bowl of hot milk. He is remembered as the king who ate himself to death by the Swedish schoolchildren.
6.
The American revolutionary James Otis Jr. hoped his death to come by a bolt of lightning and often told his friends and relatives about it. On May the 28th, 1783, suddenly his wish was fulfilled when the lightning struck the chimney of a friend's house in whose doorway he was standing, and he is reported to have told his sister, "My dear sister, I hope, when God Almighty in his righteous providence shall take me out of time into eternity, that it will be by a flash of lightning." He died at age 58.
5.
The Austrian-American logician and mathematician Kurt Godel died due to hunger when his wife was hospitalized for 6 months in the year 1978. He had a compulsive fear of being poisoned and would only eat the food prepared by his wife Adele. Adele was hospitalized for 6 months and could no longer prepare food for Godel. Due to the fear of being poisoned, he refused to eat food and died due to hunger. He weighed 29.48 kilograms, that's 65 pounds, when he died on the 14th of January 1978. Malnutrition and inanition caused by a personality disorder was reported on his death certificate.
4.
Back to 1755, a person named Henry Hall, aged 94 years, who was the oldest known member of the Hall family of lighthouse keepers that kept lights around the English and Welsh coasts. He lost his life due to the ingestion of melted lead. It all started when a spark in the lamp had set the roof alight, and eventually the whole of Rudyard's tower was engulfed in flames. He tried putting the fire out, but eventually was forced to retreat down into the tower. Not knowing what was lying in his destiny, he looked up at the lighthouse when molten lead directly fell into his throat that later caused his death. That piece of lead is now retained in the collections of the National Museums of Scotland.
3,
During the year 1877, an incident took place at Deadwood, South Dakota, on the 14th of January 1877, where a person named David Lundt was shot in a saloon fight. A person named Tom Smith suddenly entered the saloon with a handgun and affirmed that if anybody moved, he would shoot them. Con Stapleton, group member with David Lundt, grabbed Tom Smith and tried to disarm him. During the course of action, the bullet was shot from the handgun and hit David Lundt and struck his forehead. David survived the incident. Thereafter, he started doing his everyday routine chores when all of a sudden, after a period of 67 days, he felt a terrible headache and died on the 22nd of March, 1877. As per the autopsy report, David died due to the bullet shot, but nobody could determine the reason as to how he survived for such a long period after the incident.
2,
Well, during the year 1941, an American novelist and short story writer, Sherwood Anderson, died because of swallowing a toothpick during a party. The incident took place on the cruise, which was going towards South America. Anderson and his wife were on the cruise liner Santa Lucia when Anderson experienced abdominal pain and was taken to hospital in Colon, Panama, where he died on the 8th of March, 1941. His autopsy report showed that he had unintentionally gulped down a toothpick whilst eating hors d'oeuvres or either from a martini olive.
1,
Michael Malloy was a homeless alcoholic who lived in New York City during the 1920s and 30s. He had no known family and nothing would be thought of his sudden demise, leading 5 men to come up with a cunning plan. The men, dubbed the Murder Trust, conspired to take out a life insurance policy on Malloy. They then planned to kill him in order to collect the money. Their method of murder was inspired by Malloy's alcoholism. Let him drink himself to death. One of the involved men owned a speakeasy, so he gave Michael unlimited credit to drink to his heart's desire, hoping he would die quickly of his indulgences. But Malloy continued to pound drinks back for the entire working day, every day, noticing that Malloy hadn't yet succumbed to his own alcoholism. The trust began to add secret ingredients to his beverages. First, they added antifreeze, which Malloy didn't even notice. Next, they tried turpentine, horse liniment, and rat poison, all of which failed to affect Malloy. Deciding on another final solution for their pesky problem, they fed Michael oysters soaked in methanol. Then came sandwiches full of spoiled sardines and rat poison, with just a hint of carpet tacks. After that failed miserably, the trust threw creativity out of the window and simply waited for Malloy to pass out, then dragged his unconscious body to the -14 Fahrenheit, -26 degrees Celsius night and tossed him in a snowbank. They then dumped 5 gallons, 19 litres of snow on his bare chest and left him to die. Certain that Malloy was dead, the trust were astonished when he strolled in the next morning, looking no worse for wear. At this point, the trust was running out of patience and ideas, so one member bit the bullet and ran Malloy over with his taxi, which was travelling at about 45 miles per hour, 72 kilometres per hour. This put him in hospital with broken bones for 3 weeks, during which time the trust attempted to collect the insurance money on him, but failed. Michael eventually reappeared in the bar for his routine drink, so the trust initiated their last-ditch effort. They allowed him to pass out again, dragged him to the room of one of the trust members, then inserted a hose in his mouth that was connected to a gas jet, killing Michael within minutes. For their trouble, they earned about $61,000 by today's standards, and a trip to the electric chair for all of them. Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.